This is kind of where it started for me as far as turntables go. Not here in this little room. Sorry about the location for this video. I did not have a spot in my normal office where I could put these two turntables side by side hooked up to a system, and so I just went ahead and rigged it up in this little room, and I think it'll be adequate. Just a little review, sort of side by side, of two Pioneer turntables from the late 70s. The first one is the PL 400, and I'll show you both of these a little bit better here in just a few moments. That's the PL 400, and then over here on this side is the PL 514, and picked both of these up in two different locations. It's been a long time, but I bought the 400 first, and I bought it at a junk store. I think you can still see the remnants of the sticker on the side. I guess I was just lazy that day. Normally I peel those off and clean them up with Goo Gone or something, and just did not get it done that day, evidently. I didn't notice it until making this video. And I picked up the 514 at a vintage shop. They sell more than just vintage record players. They sell a lot of records, or turntables, receivers, various things. And I have the 514 hooked up to the Pioneer SX 780, and then I have the 400 hooked up to the Kenwood KR V75R, and that receiver is from the mid 80s. It's kind of like the one I had right out of high school. Found this one in a junk store, and then I picked this Pioneer up, and I've kind of reviewed it, and hopefully someday I'll get to review the Kenwood. But let me talk a little bit about them, and then I'll give you just a quick sample for both of them. Not a great setup in here for something like this. I still haven't figured out how to sample record players, turntables, or whatever, because you tend to get flagged. But I've got them hooked up to some Bose, old Bose stereo speakers. That's running through the Pioneer, and then these Bose bookshelf speakers on the bottom, that's hooked up to the Kenwood just to give us some sound. I bought these Bose speakers from a college student, and he said his roommate had a cat, and that cat went to town on that speaker cover. And these are early Bose 901s. I can't remember even now, and that cover does not come off, and so it's a kind of labor intensive to repair that. It can be repaired, but I just haven't got that far. Anyway, back to the turntables. And so first with the 400, and so the 400 is it's a fully automatic quartz controlled turntable. These things are pretty sweet. I play on a Technics SL 1200 Mark II right now, and it's not fully automatic. And so these both are automatic, and they return and shut themselves off when you're done. But this one has a quartz reference system in it, according to Pioneer's website. Plays really well. The dust cover on this one, they're both complete. The dust cover on this one, like the other one, is worn. You can tell people probably set a lot of things on it, or it was in a place where it had direct sunlight. It's kind of yellowed, but it works correctly, removable. When I bought this one, the PL 400, it had a broken, I can't remember the name of that, but it holds the tone arm, locks the tone arm down, and it was broken. And so I ordered one, and then I found the 514 and never did get to it. And I watched a video, and it's not super hard. You still have to take the turntable apart, and so I just opted not to. As long as you're careful. I have not ever had an issue with it, and so I just have not messed with it. But it's a sweet little turntable. It's boasts the thinnest direct drive motor, and so that allows this thing to be extremely thin, and I'll do some measurements here in just a few moments. It has a quartz PLL Hall motor is what Pioneer says. The platter is 310 millimeters aluminum alloy die cast, and you can't see that. I got a record on there. and it's got the platter cover on there. 33 1/3, 45 RPMs. The tone arm is a static balance type S-shaped pipe arm. I can't remember what cartridge this one has on it. One of these two has a cartridge that's, one of the wires is loose, and so sometimes it only plays on one channel, or like the right speaker or the left speaker doesn't come on. This thing weighs 14.5 pounds, and so it's not real heavy, but it's a great little machine. Let me grab my tape measure, and then left it sitting over here, and I'll get you some measurements. So this thing is about 16.5 inches wide and 13 3/4 inches deep, and not including the feet. Sorry about that, not including the feet. This is 1 inch and 1/8. And then when you put the top down on it, the nice thing about these tops, both of them are removable. And so this is about 3 3/8 inches tall. And like I said, I didn't get the feet in there, but you can take that that cover off, and if you desire to put it into a rack system, then you can have access to it that way without the cover. I was fortunate enough to find both of these with the cover on them. And so let's look at the 514 real quick. Kind of go over some of the details on it. This is a belt drive. The other one was a direct drive, and this one is a belt drive motor. This one is a 4-pole synchronous motor, 33 1/3 and 45 RPMs. The tone arm, same as the other one, static balance type, pipe arm S-shaped. This thing weighs 16 pounds, roughly. And one of the things that I read about people having issues, probably with both of these, but it was mentioned on several forums, the feet on these are plastic and they tend to get brittle with age. These are in pretty good shape. I don't have any issues with them. And let me grab my tape measure and we'll give you some measurements on this one if I can. This one's not in a great position. This thing is 17 1/4 inches wide. It is 13 3/4 inches deep, and then 1.5 inches, not including the feet or the top, and then with just, once again, without the feet, I guess I can do the feet on this one, 5 inches approximately, but this cover comes off as well. And so let me walk over here and raise the lid on this one. I've already turned both of my receivers on, and so let's see what we've got here. So this is Crosby, Stills and Nash, and normally this would be on my other record player turntable. I grew up calling them a record player. It's just a hard habit to break. I love this album. So tone arm goes up. You know, all of your adjustments are here in the back. This one has anti-skate. You adjust your tone arm balance on this to put the correct amount of pressure on the cartridge. But once you turn this thing on, or once you move it over, this one has a definitive click. It's back off. And once you cross that spot, just hear that. And I can't play much because I always get flagged for copyright infringement. This one's cool. It's got these LED lights, and they're probably not LED, but these lights to show you if you're in sync. But let me go ahead and play this just for a second and drop the needle. Definitely got a dirty record. then, like I said, once it goes to the end, it automatically will return and shut off. But right now, for this purposes of this video, you know, if it was in automatic mode, it would come back over here, and you can see that the platter will stop spinning, and then drop the arm. And I really ought to put that back on there, or put that on there, just to make it safer for travel. But great little turntable. If you're just getting into vintage vinyl, or you can buy all kinds of new vinyl, these are relatively inexpensive, under $100. You can find these vintage turntables. PL14, very similar. A few more controls on the 400. There were a lot of the controls on the front. These controls are on the side. Some nice levers. This one has the lock for the tone arm. Let me go ahead and raise it. This is a praise and worship album. So it's just one that I had close by a group that I know, Shane Bernard and Shane Everett. This one, like I said, when you put this one over there, shut that back off. On the 400, there was a click. I mean, you could hear it turn on. This one, no, it just goes to playing. I heard a little bit of a squeak that was going, and then you just drop the tone arm. And then you raise it, and this one's fully automatic as well, and it will return and shut off. But once you put the arm back in that position, platter stop spinning, and you can drop it, and you can lock it into position just like that. Really nice turntable. I enjoyed playing albums on this one, on both of them actually, and just good entry level turntables. And so that's just a little basic overview. This one too, the cover on it, dust cover on it, this one has a few more scratches. You can tell, man, that things have been said on that thing for years, but it's complete, and that's a rare thing. So many times you find these things for sale without the lids to them, and they just collect all kinds of dust, especially where I live. And both of them have great sound. You can see down there, I got a Sanyo 2016 receiver that has issues. Someday maybe I'll get that thing up and going. We'll see. Just two great turntables from the late 70s. I think the PL 514 is started being produced in 77-ish. And I think the 400 was 79 or so, 1979. Just two great vintage pieces. So if you're looking to get into playing vinyl, keep your eye open for things like this, and you can find them for pretty cheap. You may have to replace the head, the cartridge, but most of the parts are out there if you can find one that's not too beat up. All right, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll try to keep reviewing things or things that interest me. And if you have anything that you'd like me to review, you can shoot me a message, put it in the comments below.